Hello, everybody. Welcome to New Comic Book Day Book Club. This is episode 11. I can't believe we're here at 11 episodes in. Tonight we're reviewing Conan the Barbarian, issue 1, and we have, as always, my co-host, Alec from White Whale Comics.
Aren't you my co-host? Hello.
Not anymore, I don't think, right? That was the agreement.
When was that agreement made?
On New Year's, you were ready to look for the new co-host, right?
Yeah.
And then our guest tonight is the infamous and famous Mr. Comic Tom.
Yo, Comic Fam! What is going on? I'm super stoked to be here. John, you're an awesome member of the Comic Fam. And I was so stoked to see that you guys wanted to read some Conan, because we need to bring some life to this series. Like, this is good. I'm excited. This is a great book. I'm excited to chat with you guys about it tonight. And thank you so much for having me here.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, man. You are definitely like a champion of this community, and I often find myself referring to you and Bueller as guys who are not only just creating fun content, but also just supporting content creators. So you are not just like worried about your own thing, but you're being involved with other people's stuff, and it honestly makes this community function. So thank you so much for being a part of this. And I totally agree. How long has it been since they've had Conan as a comic? It's been a while, right?
Too long, that's for sure.
Dark Horse was publishing it for a while, but Marvel has not put out a Conan book, and I have no idea how long.
Yeah, like I feel like it's been a hole that is finally being filled, and filled in a big way here with Jason Aaron's storyline. And I noticed an ad in here for another Conan as well. So apparently there's a lot of it. Before we dive in, we got a huge chat. Obviously, Tom draws people in, so hit the like button for Tom. We've got so many awesome people in here. As usual, my moderators, Sam's Tangled Web is in here, and Fire Guy Ryan is in here. I got Issues and Wingnut always in here. Discovery Bay, nice to see you. Hulk Nuts and Comic Head in here. So many awesome people. Thank you guys all for coming. And any gals? I don't know if we have any ladies in here tonight. Bake the Snakes in here. C Woodard, nice to see you.
Yeah,
so
on my when I go to my information tab on my channel, I have less than 1% female viewership. It is not great.
We just broke we broke 5%. I think we're like,
hey,
if not
that's huge.
6%. So yeah, we're gonna bring more of the ladies to the comic book community. We're doing our best.
That's what we want. My girls are the love to see that glass ceiling move up.
Ooh, and shout out to Comic Book NYC's joining us too, all the way from the East Coast.
Hey, I'm all the way from the East Coast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but we also get McD in here sometimes from the across the pond coast.
Yeah,
there you go.
I got issues. What's up?
I gotta say, right from the bat on this Conan, if I say Conan or Conan, I understand there's like pronunciation issues here. I'm not talking about O'Brien. I'm talking about the Barbarian.
The real Conan.
The first 9 pages I felt like were just mind-blowingly good, like stunningly cool. Because it starts, for those that don't know, with sort of a little, I can almost hear this like classically British voice narrating the whole beginning sequence here. And several
very
splash
cinematic.
pages. Yeah. Several really cool splash pages of like classic Conan artwork. And then this awesome title page, this huge double title page, and then feeding into several like backstory, Conan through time bits here. For me, it was a great start to a hefty book for $4.99. This is a hefty book.
There's certainly a lot of value in here. And you're right. You get a really good start to this book because, for one, we haven't seen a Conan run as we started this conversation off at Marvel in a while. And we have to give, you mentioned it, the first intro, fantastic. But this 2-page spread out the gate, just not debuting, but like giving us a nice little reminder of Conan's history here. You got so much good stuff here. You got Red Sonja. It's like, the book is split up into a couple parts because the writers knew. I mean, first off, Jason Aaron, he killed it. He's done so much good stuff. Thor: God of Thunder was one of my favorite ones he did.
Oh man, my girls and I love that whole Jane Foster Thor run. So good.
Fantastic. But you have a little bit of a start of like history in the beginning. You get Conan when he was younger, and then it fast forwards to this story here, the weird, what is it? The Weird of the Crimson Witch story. Yeah. I'm digging the name, the Weird of the Crimson
title, right?
It almost seems like it's an error, but I like it.
And they set you up right at that beginning too with this is not only the story of how Conan lived, but how Conan died.
Oh, you see how he was born right there. I mean, his mom's cutting the umbilical cord on the battlefield. Heck yeah.
Which is easily the best and most graphic thing this comic could do, right? Like mom giving birth on a battlefield, cutting the umbilical cord with a bloody knife is like, do it.
Yeah. The only thing would be better is if she was like fighting off someone with the other hand.
Right.
Absolutely. It's great. I mean, it's a really good way to start it off. You're right. This is a hefty book for the price it is. And you get, it's like a couple different parts to it. And I'm definitely enjoying it right off the bat.
And Alec, you wanted to say something about the parental advisory because we were talking beforehand about how bloody this book is.
This book is fairly graphic. It's not like, well, no, it's fairly graphic. And so I flipped to the cover. I was like, boy, why is there like some sort of warning on this? And I think I'm the only one of us who got a variant cover. Yep, there it is. I don't know if you can see that. There's the big giant parental advisory to warn you that this is maybe not for kids right there above the barcode. Very visible. Like, why bother?
Well,
just
yeah,
cover their butts to say
this is a Batman Damned in the Black label, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, not like that really warned you either.
Well, if that didn't warn you, the first page, 2-page spread here of the story has Conan just decapitating someone's head. This guy's kappa was detated.
And that's what I was saying. Like when I said those first 9 pages, that's the 9th page, or the 8th and 9th pages together right there. Those first 9 pages are just unbelievable. And I haven't read a Conan story in a really long time. And I was like right back in there, just landed in 100% with those 9 pages.
Absolutely. Well, and you learn so much. I mean, you get a little bit of a preface. I mean, you get the, Conan was born on the battlefield. He was raised in the ring, and he is, killing people, kicking ass and taking names. This guy can't be stopped. He's a huge barbarian. And the thing is that you would imagine someone like that, kind of slow for his size, but that's something that Conan, his size, it signifies his power, but not his speed. He's described as a cat. This is like, imagine Wolverine, but large without adamantium. You basically have Conan.
Right. Yeah. I got issues with saying he started reading Conan when he was 4, and that's why he's a murderer and an alcoholic and a man.
Yeah. I mean, you get that in this issue as we proceed. I mean, you find out a little bit of what goes, in Conan, what Conan thinks about, what drives him, what motivates him to rule, to become a king.
I did feel, I hate to be the Debbie Downer of the group, that they did a little bit too much telling and not showing. Like they were like, Conan is this and Conan is that. And
do you mean once the story starts proper, or in the first 9 pages?
Like once kind of the witch, spoiler alert, starts talking about him, and from there she like everything is kind of like told to you about the story. And I think that's a product of them trying to fit so much into this first issue.
And I wasn't going to call that a spoiler because it's titled The Weird of the Crimson Witch. And once you see a lady wearing red, I think we can assume that's probably her. So that's definitely not your spoiler. And I do agree. I don't think the rest of the book ever lives up to those 9 pages. but those 9 pages are so freaking good. Like, I'm almost willing to forgive this book anything after those 9 pages. And for me, like, part of what I remember and love about Conan was sort of this world that's created. And I felt like the narration, at least the way they use it, for me, as you know, when it's saying things like, what was it, the air smelled of sweat and cheap ale, those kinds of things, like, I was just like, yeah, okay, I can handle, like, telling me this kind of stuff is fine. Like, I'll just keep going. I do think there was no surprises in the sense of, like, who this Red Witch is or any of that kind of stuff. But the world aspect of it, I was just in.
Yeah, no alarms and no surprises. Little Radiohead joke for you there.
I have to say though, you know, to add to your 9 pages of appreciation, I actually enjoyed. I mean, first off, I know Conan as a savage, so I didn't really. It's no news to me that this guy in a ring is gonna annihilate anyone he comes in touch with. I mean, this is his issue number 1 that we're talking about here. But when he meets the witch, I have to say my favorite part of this issue is the conversation she has with him about doing and being more, and him just saying, "Hey, I'm tired. I'm just going to drink my wine and get to it." And her response was, "Oh yeah, you must be tired after that long fight. You know, you probably have no strength left to muster for any more of the quote rough stuff."
Yeah.
And the very next page is him doing what he does,
going at it,
tearing off her clothes and getting right to it like Conan does. This guy does not. This guy's a savage. Like, this guy, like, as far as like a warrior goes, the first part of the book is like everything you want in a Conan book. I mean, this guy is not somebody you want to mess with, but the ladies love him.
And I love the last panel on that page where you see her hands transforming into the witch and her face is still the pretty lady.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a little bit of a twist here. The spoiler John was talking about. This lady isn't who we think. She's not a fan. See, Conan thinks you have to assume that this happens all the time, that he goes and kills a bunch of people in the ring, and then he's got all these ladies just lining up like, okay, I want him to be my man. This guy's got to be the most terrifying person in the world. I just don't see it happening.
Ryan shouts out your hustle today, Tom, from bagging and boarding, from getting over and doing your live stream earlier today, which if nobody checked out, Tom, I know everybody's already subbed to Tom, but if you haven't, you should do that, and you should check out his live stream every Wednesday, New Comic Book Day at 5 o'clock. He and Ryan just rock the house over there and unbox some cool stuff and give away some cool stuff. But yeah, serious busy hustle today. I'm glad you got a break in between.
Oh, thank you so much. And Ryan hustled as well. He was here early. We had 1,100 graphic novels show up today. So we had to get all those ready for the mail call. And we had about 2,000 comics or so to bag and board for the Comic Fam. And all the while we're planning out our show, our live show, getting ready for tonight's recording. And all the while I'm like, I gotta read this Conan book too again. So I read it yesterday. I got it. Russ, actually, shout out to Russ over at Mail Geek. He texted me yesterday. He's like, "Hey, I'm not planning on coming home tonight," because he's here a lot of the week. And he's like, "But do you need that Conan book for tomorrow's live stream?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do." So he actually took an extra trip yesterday to give me this book just so that I can read it for this show.
Yeah, big shout out to Russ, who, by the way, sold me my whole set I have now of Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller. I have that thanks to Russ. So if you guys need a book, definitely check in with him on Instagram, because he really just works hard and has great stuff. So yeah, let's we get back the witch. You know, this was the bit that Alec was talking about, the witch poisoning Conan. And then of course,
nails, right? She grabs him. See, they're in the middle of lovemaking, and she uses her nails. He thinks she's just being wild, but instead she's poisoning him on his back with her nails, digging him into his back. That's pretty cool. That's not a reason to pick up this book. I don't know what is.
It reminds me of one of my favorite characters and something she might do. And I'm just going to show this off really quickly because this is my Christmas present for myself. It just came in today.
Oh, there it is.
Poison Ivy.
Double signed. Josh Middleton, Tom King.
Oof.
Boom.
Boom.
There it is.
That totally is a Poison Ivy move. And He passes out, and she wakes him by slicing his chest, and she's got him in, I don't know, some crazy pit with this giant hole in the ground, and he's on an altar, and there's like dead bodies all around. I love this whole scene here, this whole location, which is its own little splash page or whatever here on the next page. I love this location.
So can I ask a question about this?
Yeah.
At the end, when, spoiler alert, she comes back, he seems like so surprised about that. And I assume that years later, he's been through many fights and many encounters. And was it set up enough that this was like scarring enough to him that he would remember it so well and be so shocked and surprised and upset by her?
I've never been seduced by a witch, but I have to imagine if I was in that position of Conan, you know, thinking it was gonna be a really good night, and then to experience that, be dragged to like a cave and taken out, I'd probably remember it myself.
But I mean, this is Conan we're talking about, not Common Tom.
That's true.
It's a great question, and it goes, for me, it's like it's hard to walk the line of either she's so memorable he should not leave her possibly alive on the floor, or she's not memorable enough and he wouldn't remember her later. Because I do feel like we'll get to it in a second, but when he finishes her off, she's definitely not dead, and that's a big Conan mistake in that scene. So she's got a ritual, right? She's got this crazy, I don't know, it's almost like a vined vein tree, like a blood tree of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
She's sort of drawing on the blood of heroes to try to bring this tree to life. And somehow Conan's blood is so strong, it's the thing that she needs.
Well, it's Conan.
Fact.
Yeah.
But of course, the blood is so strong, he's able to then break free and have a brawl with her. And she brings all the, I don't know, skeletons of heroes that failed her to life to then try to stop him from getting away. But of course, we know nothing stops Conan. I love the way he like rips off this skull from this one guy and uses it off another guy. Yeah. So what do you guys think of the sort of, I guess, tree of life or tree of death that she's bringing about here?
The color work, man. The color work is so good. As soon as she brings everything to life, I mean, really, when the fighting starts, that's the one thing that I'm just so drawn to. You have these greens, the almost sunset style colors happening all over the place, all while he's just annihilating the dead and fighting, ripping skulls off of the bodies. And this one just single page spread of him just doing the Conan thing. Like this right here could have been the cover itself. But it's fantastic. Yeah.
The art was really, I was not familiar with this artist at all, but I was very impressed by it.
Yeah. Mahmoud Asrar. I don't know. You guys have never heard of him before?
No, not familiar.
Mahmoud Asrar. I haven't. I actually asked Ryan too, because he's definitely up on his modern stuff a lot more than I have, and he hadn't seen any of his art either. So I'm excited to see it. This guy can draw fire. Oh man, this guy can draw fire.
Yeah.
This guy can draw some gruesome stuff too. Some people getting straight lopped.
That's what a Conan issue is. Like we got to have just nothing but violence. That's why Conan's so awesome. It's like, it's not a superhero story. It's a really cool book if you're really into the action stuff, but you are tired of the tights and you want to see some just 300 style violence and good storytelling, you know?
He almost talked too much. Like I liked it better when it started getting to the narration rather than, which I thought was a weird jump too. Like that wasn't a consistent thing. Like at first kind of the witch was the narrator, for lack of a better term, because she was telling you about the story. And then once she kind of went away, the narrator popped in, and I thought that was a much better voice for the book.
Yeah, I like the narration completely. From beginning to the end, I thought the narration, it reminded me, like, again, of some of those sort of battle barbarian kind of films where you just hear this almost British accent speaking over all the beautiful cinematography.
Absolutely. I mean, there's 3 time jumps in this book. 3 of them in one issue. That's impressive. I mean, yeah, the story is, I mean, it's a simple story, but you have an intro to the story in the first few pages. You have a nice section of Conan's life where he has this experience that's a couple pages. And then from this exit of the witch the first time, we have another time jump.
For me, I know you talked about the first 9 pages being,
no, go ahead.
You know, so great. For me, the last few pages were my favorite, where once the kids show up and then it's revealed that the witch is back, and those bodies flying out of the cart to attack them, and those few pages and like the last splash page, that was my favorite part of the book.
How creepy are those kids? Oh
yeah, we jump to that other time where we have a king, Conan, right? And on the battlefield, he is just sort of, what's that?
Way in the future now.
Yeah, and he's got a beard, so he's better.
He's obviously matured into beard. And he's walking the battlefield, and there's these kids dragging the bodies away. And yes, Tom, you're saying how creepy are these kids? I think it's just that sometimes characters are drawn, or in movies you get a pair of twins, like in The Shining or something. Twins, when they stand together and are kind of like emotionless, are naturally discomforting.
Well, and what are these kids doing? These kids are like collecting dead bodies. Like, that's like worst case scenario. It's like, what are these kids doing? Well, you know,
just collecting them to make blood wine.
No big deal. They got to make some money too.
And I like how like straightforward and honest they are. They're like, yeah, we're collecting them to make blood wine. Like, not even trying to make up a lie. Or maybe that is the lie, and the truth is worse than that.
And of course, then they throw out the same creepy blood god or whatever that the witch was talking about, which is what Alec, you were saying, brings us back to this Crimson Witch character. Now, I don't know Conan well enough. Is this a true first, Tom, of this Red Witch or Scarlet Witch?
Crimson I'm not familiar. So. The Crimson Witch? I'm not familiar. It could be.
So this could be a villain's first appearance.
That illustration also pretty badass.
Heck yeah. Well, he pretty much cut her head off the first time, so now she's really, really not looking good. Like, she needs to, I don't know. She's definitely needs to take a break, recover a little bit. This time that she's hanging out, the story is not doing. She's not doing too good.
Look at her hands; they're so awesome.
Yeah, those fingernails are long and witch-like. I actually watched The Witch, the movie with Ryan, yesterday as we were bagging and boarding. If you haven't seen that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Movie.
You guys were saying that it was pretty good, that you liked it.
Yeah, I didn't care for it at first, and then the ending, you know, it was one of those, you know, just sometimes it takes
it's definitely a very intentionally paced plotting movie, and if you're looking for like blockbuster excitement, it is not for you. But if you're looking for beautiful subtlety and terrifying moments of real terror, 10 out of 10.
Well put. I was surprised how much I liked that movie. So this was a good timing for me to read about some witches, because I'm like, I got witches
creepy witches everywhere. And now she's got like, it looks like she's patched her neck together with like skulls and bones and things.
Someone in the chat mentioned that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Tom and Ryan, Netflix and chill. That's what they're saying in the chat.
That's right. We got a lot of comics to bag and board. That's what it looks like.
I'll say that. Fire Guy Ryan says that you guys need to rewatch The Witch too.
I'm down. We definitely been chatting about doing some more horror themed show stuff. I'm a big horror fan. Obviously, I got Paranormal Activity hat.
Well, in that Golden Age, I know that you have Jeff on a bunch for the Golden Age talks, and I always talk about how it's hard for me to get into Golden Age. I'm still like I'm still like struggling to get my training wheels off and really go after it, because I feel like the characters I love aren't always present there. And I'm not a horror guy or a cowboy Western kind of guy. So like, you know, I don't necessarily want to see the romance genre as much. So for me to like find that hook, that golden age hook, it hasn't snagged me yet, but I'm fully in the silver.
I'm a huge horror guy, and so is TJ Watson. So if you need any recommendations, hit me up on the IG.
Ooh, I like that. Let's connect, man, because I am down to chat some horror. I'm a big fan of shaky cam, found footage stuff, which I know isn't the thing that a lot of diehard horror fans like. I can't talk, but I definitely like the shaky cam type of stuff.
So as a quick aside, when Blair Witch Project came out, before it actually came out in theaters, I got a bootleg copy of it on VHS when I was in college. And I played it for the people who were in my dorm at the time and presented it as if it were real, and they were not happy with me.
You know, that's really funny you say that. I remember being a kid and my parents coming home after their date night, and they were disturbed, and we were living in California at the time, so they were part of like the first debut of this film where you could go and see it at these small theaters, and one of these theaters were the first ones to show it in California, and they actually had as like on opening night the tapes and the like random sticks that they uncovered from this filming, because they sold it as a real movie when that movie came out, so people were thinking they just saw people die.
Yeah, that was the marketing technique. And I worked, so I went to film school, and then I worked at a film festival here in Orange County, California for a long time. And right after that, so when I was in school, that film came out and everybody was super into it. And then I went to work at the film festival, and we started getting submissions from the people who were like, I'm going to take a video camera and I'm going to go out in the woods near my house and I'm going to shoot my own horror film. And so I burned out on the shaky cam. Like, I had to watch all the crappiest versions of Blair Witch you've ever seen. All the ones that will never make it into a film festival, never make it into a video store or anything like this. I had to watch them all and be like, "What? Another one? Are you kidding me? Like, please give me anything but another shaky cam movie." I saw at least like 30 every year that I was working there.
Oh my goodness, I love it. It just like it opened the doors for so many independent creators to have fun with it. And there's some gold. Like, the thing is, there's so many bad ones that exist that there are certain ones that when you do find them, they're so good because they have to outdo those bad ones.
Yeah, and
horror.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, horror has always been a genre friendly to the independent small filmmaker, and it was a great way to kind of reinvent how people could do films on the cheap.
Yeah, because you didn't need much. I mean, you talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or you talk about
Number One,
like I was saying, you talk about Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. Like, you don't need much to make those movies, which is why people would rush out and give it a shot. But what you do need is somebody who's really savvy in the editing, filmmaking side to turn it into something that really makes you want to shit your pants, like just freaks you out, because otherwise it's just cheap and not for any value. So I watched the cheap ones, so many of the cheap ones. I was really harsh.
So how about Conan?
Yeah, back to Conan. Sorry,
it's horror. It's filled with horror.
I know. I could chat horror all night, but
obviously they want to end with a big cliffhanger, right? The Crimson Witch and what's going to happen, and you have the creepy children, and they're just sort of standing over Conan, and this seems to be setting up.
My favorite page in the book. I love that drawing.
She's got posses now.
Yeah, they've stabbed him in the back, literally, and just ready to kind of use his blood the way they've wanted from the beginning. And then they also included, and I don't know if you guys took the time to read it, but they included a actual like handwritten, like a novel form short story Conan story at the back.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's called Black Starlight, Part 1 of 12, where each issue that you read of the comic, you get a comic story, but then you also get a novel story.
Very traditional to Conan.
Yeah.
Very good.
But yeah, it's just cool that they kept that going, and they've got all of this in this $4.99. I kept thinking about X-Men, the new Uncanny X-Men, and how freaking expensive that book was, and how tiny it was by comparison. This just feels like such an amazing amount of comic for that price.
For real, I mean, talk about value. This is what I like to see. There's a creative story. You got and did your guys' copy come with this little fold-out 2-page?
Yeah, the War of the Realms.
Pretty cool. I'm excited about that too. So I mean, add some thickness to it.
I really loved Jason Aaron and his Thor run, and the artist for that was Russell Dodderman, and he's doing this new War of the Realms with him as well. He runs a really great Instagram, and he has often like commented back to me on his Instagram or liked what I've said on his Instagram. And he's really, really cool on social media, and really just an awesome guy. On top of being a really interesting digital artist, because he does a lot of his stuff hand-drawn and then transfers it to the computer and does most of the work digitally. And the graphic novel versions of that story, they're really cool. You can see his process. They really show his process, which is fascinating. Whitewell, oh, dude, what are you telling in the chat? So X-Men was $7.99?
Yeah, X-Men was $7.99. I'm almost sure, because NYC was saying that it was more pages than this, but I'm pretty sure it was also $2, $3 more.
Yeah, it was a shocking amount of money for what you got, and I'm just blown away by this one. Did you guys have anything more you wanted to say about the story or about what's going on in the book before we talk about if it's on your pull list from here on out?
I'm good.
Okay, well, I'm going to say I'm definitely putting the second issue on my pull list. And I'm curious about, there's apparently another Conan story, another writer doing another Conan story.
There's like two more.
There's two more? So this one was, I saw Savage Sword of Conan.
And then at the back of the book, there's also like some Conan spin-off thing.
Oh, the Age of Conan? Yeah. So there's apparently other ones as well, but I'm definitely in for another Jason Aaron, Conan the Barbarian. Alec?
And this is coming out in 2 weeks, by the way. We have
every 2 weeks.
So this is a bi-weekly title, so I think this is definitely gonna be something on my pull list. I like bi-weekly titles because you know that the artists and writers, they got their like everything in order to be able to complete those deadlines. You know, they got their heart and soul in this issue. I'm excited to keep reading it. The art's great. The story had me hooked. It's an easy read, which is cool. Not a whole lot of, rambling nonsense. I mean, it's dated, it's Savage Conan. This is old timey stuff. And it could get caught up in this, like almost King Arthur type of verbiage, and it's just not how it is. It's not it. It's like you read through it and you move with it. It's great. I'm excited. It's already on my pull list. Along with the other ones, and I'm actually hoping I see some Red Sonja make appearance because I want to see some good Red Sonja coming in.
I agree.
How many times did they say Crom in this book?
The woman on the cover too had a Red Sonja vibe going, at least on my cover.
I mean,
that shows it on mine. This is just Conan, just ready to cleave a skull.
Heck yeah, I'm down. I'm excited for more Conan. That's for sure.
Oh, I just got really dark. Nah, pass. I'm trying to really be particular about what I'm buying week to week now. So I'm being very, very picky.
I like the honesty.
Yeah. Well, that's what I bring.
Alec and I have talked a lot about the desire to pare down the modern books so that you're making sure you're going after those books that you really, really want. And that's been the challenge and frustration with doing this show weekly, is kind of like
buying these books that we wouldn't necessarily buy.
Is it good enough? Like, I know that Ryan's been reading Hex Wives, and there's part of me that's like, I really want to know what's going to happen next in Hex Wives. But I'm like, do I want that more than whatever money I might spend on that grail I'm hunting or whatever?
Yeah,
but I do think that at least one more Conan story is going to be worth it for me.
I'm waiting for my public library's copy of the trade of Hex Wives.
Right? I will for sure be reading that.
Comic Books NYC says issue 3 of Hex Wives disappointing. Issue 1 of Hex Wives was disappointing.
I was just curious enough to know what's going to happen later in that story, and I was like, but not enough to plunk down the money each week. Unlike Die or Middle West, which I do feel were books that I'm going to keep reading going forward.
So you want to jump to our debate topic?
Yeah, why don't you introduce the top topic for tonight, Alec?
So in honor of the silver screens Conan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, our debate topic this week is, what is Arnold's most underrated film?
Because obviously we could jump to Terminator 2, which is this iconic, huge film in his career. But that's not an underrated movie. That is a massive hit, right? So we're looking for that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that might be the one that people don't pick right away. And did you have one, Alec, you wanted to start with?
I mean, I've got a few, but I'm going to start off with Twins.
Ooh, Mr. Gretzky said the exact same thing.
Yeah. Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, hilarious. Great.
I'm going to follow Kachung on this one. I am a Running Man fan. I've seen, and it's based on a Stephen King, right? A Richard Bachman story.
Yeah, I'm a Running Man
freak. I think that is the most hilarious and ridiculous and awesome thing. And Hunger Games ripped that shit off completely. Running Man did it.
Very loosely based on a Richard Bachman story. Right. If you've ever read it.
Sure.
Very loosely based.
But for me, like, I get so many giggles out of the host of Family Feud hosting a slaughter video game in the future. Like, I am all for this. So for me, it's going to be running.
All right. So you asked me like right before we started. So there's only one that I can think of. Because I mean, a lot of the big ones. I mean, it's really like Jingle All the Way is awesome. I'm a huge fan of both Terminators. I think Terminator 1 is fantastic, by the way. Everyone loves Terminator T2.
It is great.
1 is fantastic. But
sure.
The most underrated thing he's ever done, I think, is his appearance in the 1990 Tales from the Crypt. He plays an ex-con very briefly, and if I can bring it back to horror,
such a good pick.
Wow, that is a deep cut.
Deep cut, but Tales from the Crypt, I love that whole series run. Every episode of that run is fantastic, except for the very last episode, because they decided to go cartoon with the last episode, and it just was like, it was so terrible. But if you watch those through, there are so many big named actors, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it only shows up really quick, but it's awesome.
Wow, I thought for sure somebody would throw out Commando, which I also have as like a really guilty pleasure. But I see a lot of Last Action Hero, Jiggle All the Way, definitely showing up in the chat. Sixth Day. Oh, I haven't even thought of that movie since I worked
Total Recall. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's great too.
Some of those are huge, big. I mean, Total Recall, I'd argue, is a big hit. That was a huge hit.
Yeah, it's got a chick with 3 boobs in it.
How has no one said Batman and Robin yet?
Hottie Sharon Stone.
Come on.
I think that's pretty properly rated.
I think you're right. I think you're right, man.
Oh my gosh, there's so many awesome ones going on in the chat right now. Hercules in New
York.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I think that Predator is actually underrated.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
I mean, like, people love it, but I think it's also underrated. I think that movie is so good.
When he puts the mud on, oh my gosh, that's when that movie it goes up a notch.
And when he says, "Get to the chopper,"
go to the chopper. That's funny. We had Jeff doing that voice today on the show. We're gonna have to use that.
Die 2 comes out in next week.
Is it next week? It's either next week or the week after.
Yeah, it's in the next 2 weeks.
Real quick aside, on my honeymoon, and when I was a kid also, we went to Puerto Vallarta for vacation, and they show you parts of the jungle where they shot Predator.
Oh, cool.
And they even have like a busted up like skeleton of a helicopter that was left from like the production, and you can go and like climb in it and stuff, and they have these signs with Arnold's face on it and stuff, so you can go in the hills like they shot Predator right here. Mexicans are still celebrating that.
Amazing. I gotta go and visit that. That's awesome.
Fire Guy Ryan with the Always Sunny deep cuts in the chat. Let's watch Predator every Tuesday and talk about the dudes' physiques.
That guy is he loves that show. He's always putting that show on.
Oh yeah.
Carl Weathers, though, man. Carl Weathers, whether it's Arrested Development or Predator, right? You got Carl carrying the game.
Yeah, he was the main dude in Predator 2.
Yeah.
Which is also
that was Danny Glover.
Oh, you're right. What am I saying? Totally different guy.
Carl gets his arms chopped off, right? Doesn't he get both arms?
Yeah. He's gone. Yeah, he's gone.
Shoot with one hand.
Let's get a stew going.
Yeah. What? Oh, jeez.
Get a stew going.
That's this big line in Arrested Development. He's like, you save that bone, you got yourself a stew going.
Or you can't forget him in Happy Gilmore either, right?
That's right.
Tap it in. Just tap it in. Oh, well, this was awesome, Tom. Thank you so much for coming. Would you want to take a little time and talk about what's coming up this week? I'm sure you got another. For those that don't, I can't believe there's anybody in this chat or whoever will watch this video that doesn't know Tom and doesn't know his channel. You can go on his channel and find all kinds of cool stuff. I love the breakdowns. He did a phenomenal. I've got all these trades now that are great stories because of his breakdowns. The Ant-Man breakdown was so freaking awesome. The Hellblazer with Aaron and Brian and I've never read Constantine until then. He's still doing this crazy long Infinity Gauntlet. This thing is amazing. The amount of time that you have to spend reading Cloak and Dagger and everything.
Oh my gosh.
This is one of Hercules' challenges, doing this to try to get every single issue broken down. So I'm sure there's more cool stuff coming this week besides your huge top 10 video, which everybody knows and checks out. But what else is coming up this week for you?
All right. So this next month is really just going to be about getting shows scheduled out so that they're just on repeat every week. So you can really grow to expect something from our channel, just like our top 10 videos. We do True Firsts on Monday, where we dive deep into origins of characters and how they make appearances in comic book media, whether it be on, a comic book or a magazine or anything. Heck, if it's on a popsicle wrapper, as Russ says, we're going to cover it. So we have True First. We also do breakdown videos, as was mentioned. Right now we're doing Infinity Gauntlet, but we've done other ones in the past. But every weekend, on Saturday typically is when those are going up. We take on the next issue in the Infinity Gauntlet run, cover it, and have a bigger conversation of how it ties into the overall story. Because if you read Infinity Gauntlet issues number 1 through 6, and that's it, you don't know the story. You might as well not even read it, because there's another 40 plus issues that all come together to make this event what it is. And that's what we talk about. We started.
Well, I would say there's some Silver Surfer ones that you've mentioned that I'm putting this on my hunt list. That issue sounds lights out. And I'm sure you've gotten, I haven't checked because I've been up on all of those breakdowns, but I'm sure you've got playlists on your channel for all those, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a playlist for everything. Other than that, though, we have the Golden Age Guru, who's in the chat today, and he breaks down just Golden Age info, and we have a lot more stuff planned with that. And, we just have fun. We talk comic books every week. Come and say hi. John, we got to get you on the show at some point.
I'm happy to do it. Shout out to Jeff, the Golden Age Guru, because I had questions about Golden Age and our art submission books and original art questions, and he was really nice to get back to me on some of that stuff. So big shout out to Jeff, and thanks to him for taking the time on that.
There we go. And other than that, I have one other thing I wanted to mention, because we're talking about Conan today, and I don't get a chance to share private collection stuff very often, but this is something I felt like was just a good place to bring these on. I think I've shown them on the live stream one time, but I've been hunting these particular books. There's another issue that I'm still hunting for, but I went to New York City Comic Con and I found them, and I've been hunting for these for years, and I'm super excited to show you today. A lot of people don't know about these issues, but they're fantastic. So
I'm going to get super close to my camera
right.
Now so I can see it as big as possible.
Conan the Barbarian, I present to you Barack the Barbarian. This is Barack Obama. Barack Obama as Conan, and it's fantastic. It's everything you want in a comic book that is
so fantastic.
This is Barack, but you know what? It gets better, because I somehow found not just cover A, I found cover B featuring Red Sarah. Yes, that is Sarah Palin as Red Sonja. So if these aren't the most
horrifying,
Yeah, horrifying and ridiculous comic books you've ever seen. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm
trying hard not to make noises because then the camera shifts off of you because it's so freaking good.
Tell me that these aren't just awesome comic books. You got to just keep an eye out for them. They're low print, but you know what? It's a lot of fun. And there are some that are going to be graded and framed because that's how I roll. But anyways,
what is the manufacturer? What is the company behind those?
The company is
Devil's Due Press.
DDP. DDP
Sure.
Publishing. Never heard of them, but it's an all-new action story back in like 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I don't think they're around anymore.
I don't think so.
That is so freaking cool, man.
Anyways, thanks for letting me share. Appreciate you having me on.
Sharing is caring.
That's
now,
right.
Alec, you guys all know Alec. He's got all his cool artist breakdowns. He's even been doing these fun, I don't know if you've seen them, Tom, but these great like chat join episodes and shows where he basically just gets on and invites anybody who wants to come and join him. And it's a completely free form live stream, and you get all kinds of great deep, heavy topics with lighthearted, silly topics and everything, just whatever's on people's minds. So what have you got coming up, Alec? Anything you're thinking about doing this week?
Yeah, that has luckily not blown up in my face yet. So I'm waiting for that to happen. Yeah, I don't really have anything planned this week, but you know, those Let's Chats have always been kind of spur of the moment, like I'm free tonight type of thing. I'm working on a couple new artist breakdowns and a couple other projects that I am still in the early phases of. So,
well, I mean, you had part one. Your race finished out. His race CBC versus CGC, or say CBCS versus CGC. Yeah. CGC finished out. Sorry, spoiler alert. You can watch the finish of that race, but he's also got the other box, hopefully coming soon to unveil as well.
Which, by the way, CBCS had a 4-month head start and still lost. Yeah, it's due here Friday. I don't know if I'm going to do the unboxing Friday, but my CBCS order is finally on the way.
And those books are up on his Instagram too. Some of those are for sale, and if you want to check out those books, you can definitely check with Alec on Instagram because I know he's trying to move some of those. And
I also have a expert grading service order that is coming in, so I'm going to review them. People aren't familiar. It's a new third-party grading service.
Oh, this is the one that Reggie was talking about.
Reggie was talking about. Yep.
Gotcha.
So I sent 2 books in to see what their product looked like, so I could give you guys. Yeah.
I'm excited to see those because I know that there's books that I should probably get slabbed at some point, but I'm just not there yet, and so I've got to at some point get myself educated on making that decision. On my channel, we've got Saturday Morning Comics with me and the girls finally back on together again. We've missed a few Saturdays as a group, so we will be back on Saturday doing our share. And I do have some packages coming in this next week, so I'm hoping to have an unboxing at some point. Nothing arrived today, but I'm thinking next week somewhere I'll have an unboxing to do. And then next week we're on Alec's channel. And Alec, we failed to pick a book for next week.
No, we haven't.
Did we? Oh no, we did. I'm sorry. I totally remember now. Sorry, is he in the chat? Is Tony here?
He's been in and out. Yeah, it's going to be Captain Marvel #1 with no surprise, Tony Sanders.
So we get to have the Captain Marvel with the Captain Marvel book #1. So that's next week on Alec's channel. So make sure you're tuning in with him to enjoy that. Any last things that anybody wants to say before we log out here?
I do appreciate you guys' time. Thanks, Comic Fam, for joining us, chatting about comics. It's such a cool thing to be alive in 2019 where we can connect like this. It's amazing. This never happened, like 20 years ago, we would be confined to our area in our lonely city to chat with our buddies about what they picked up. And now we can come together on the internet. You can join us here. It's a beautiful thing, and I enjoy doing it every time. So please, if anyone else is, doing these types of shows, let us know. I like seeing this type of content get made. It's so much more fun to hear about reviews from the comic book fam than anything IGN puts out. You know, hell, like I'd rather listen to John talked about, you know, with Kate and Charlie about an issue than your average reviewer. And I'm sure the 40+ people who joined us today can probably say the same thing.
Thank you so much, Tom, for coming. And Alec, I'm so glad you could make it. Everybody have a great night, and we will see you again soon. You can geek responsibly, but we're not going to make you do it.
Oh, but you should definitely like and subscribe if you're not currently doing that. And if you haven't liked it, hit the like button. It does a lot for the video to get out there. So we all appreciate that.
Battlestar Galactica is the greatest show of all time. So say we all.
Bye, everybody.
Peace. See you guys.
Bye.